Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Long time no see. And summer has, well, pretty much come to an end already. So in today's video, I want to give you one last tour, show you how my balcony garden looks at the end of the season. I cannot hide, I'm super excited for fall. Fall is my favorite season, like in general and especially in the garden. I love when things slow down. I love that moment when, things start changing colors, and I love planting bulbs, you know me. So I'm really excited for fall, but before I get my garden ready for fall, before I start to do some cleanup, I do want to show you how the garden looks, because everything is still looking pretty beautiful, pretty lush. So let me show you one last tour of the summer garden, and then by the end of this video I would also like to really quickly go over some of the things that I planted this year, some of the things that I tried for the first time this year. I want to chat quickly with you on how it turned out, some successes and some failures as well. So just like a quick recap of this whole season. Just one information if you're new here. Well, first of all, hi, I'm Dominika. I post about balcony and container gardening. If you are into this kind of gardening adventures, you're more than welcome to subscribe to the channel. And my garden is located in zone 8A. We have hot, humid summers and cold, dry winters. So that's pretty much it. Let's go. So before we begin, I would like to give you a full look on the garden, like an overhead view on the garden. So here is one part of the garden on the left from my kitchen window, and when we turn to the other side, it looks like this. So why don't we start with the back of the garden today, because I think last time we started with a veggie garden. So this is my full shade garden. Yes, one thing that I now realize I forgot to mention, my garden is in the shade for most of the day. The raining planters receive the most sunlight. They can get up to 4.5 hours of sunlight. The rest of the balcony receives less, like under 3 hours of sunlight, and this area here does not receive any direct sunlight at all. I have a lot of perennials here and a Japanese maple. As you can see, the perennials are doing phenomenal, looking lush, looking green, bushy. So far, I haven't lost a single plant due to vine weevils, because this year I was ready and I applied nematodes early on, so everything is looking beautiful. We have hostas, royal, halcyon, heuchera, silver gumdrop, Polysticum polyblepharum, Podophyllum spotidoti. On this side here, more perennials. That's one new addition, Geranium rosanne. It's been blooming non-stop. Goodness, I didn't realize that my hands were so dirty, sorry. So Geranium rosanne, beautiful perennial that supports lower light situation. We have only one single flower, but as you can see, there was plenty more, and it blooms kind of in waves. It blooms non-stop, but sort of in waves. And this is a new addition as well. As you can see, it's budding up for its second flash of blooms, and beautiful Clematis jackmanii. No, sorry, Clematis montana. This one is a montana, and yeah, I did not even realize that this happened. I honestly haven't spent much time in my garden at all, especially recently. I got so busy that I barely even went out in my garden these days. And yeah, I will have to fix this. So these hooks, in fact, they hold up pretty well. I really like them. But what happens is that these, you see, these things break off. And I used to have a different type of hooks before, if I can find it. As you can see, these ones on this side hold better, and it's a different, I guess, seller. And especially these green ones are amazing. I buy them off, Amazon and stuff like that. And sometimes you get really good quality ones, sometimes not necessarily. Anyway, as you can see, the railing planters are looking super lush. I'm gonna talk about, kind of issues that I faced this year by the end of this video, but I can already tell you that I had huge problems with pigeons. As you can see, they try to nest in these planters and they just sit there and mess with the plants, and yeah, not really cool. On the floor here we have ornamental grasses. This is a Carex Evergold and Hacanocloa something, I forgot the name of this variety. And a beautiful new addition as well, a plant that I brought from work when I still worked at the garden center. Beautiful blue, true blue salvia. I wasn't sure if it's gonna grow well, if it's gonna bloom well, because salvias do need a little more sunlight than what they can get in my garden. But hey, look, it's not that bad. We have a couple of flowers. The plant is looking healthy, and it's its first year in the garden, so probably it's gonna do better next year. This one is not very winter hardy only down to zone 8, I think, and we are in zone 8. I have a pretty good luck with overwintering my plants, even though the temperatures can drop to minus 12 degrees Celsius, minus 10, minus 12 sometimes. I have a pretty good luck overwintering plants even that are on a border of hardiness. Beautiful caladium. I think this is Snow Queen. I might be wrong. I always get the caladium names wrong, but look at this beauty. I think I have the same. I'm keeping the tubers from year to year, and this one I think is probably like 4 years old, maybe 3 years old. So I absolutely love keeping them, because then each year you get more and more leaves, and the leaves are progressively bigger and bigger each year. On this side I had beautiful arum, calla lilies, akiba. They bloomed beautifully in purple. Not entirely sure what happened here. One of them just didn't make it, but these were really lovely. They're looking tired now, but that's normal, because after all it's mid-September. So another new addition over there was a beautiful hydrangea. Goodness. Hydrangea from the Surfing Safari series, and I absolutely love that even the spent blooms, these dried up because it was incredibly hot this summer, but for the most part it kept its beautiful green petals, green florets, and I love how ruffled they are. That just makes it look so interesting. As we move forward, on the table here, looking pretty sad, I had snapdragons, antirrhinum, Kimosi apple blossom, one of my all-time favorite varieties, because look how short they stay. They are perfect for windowsills and small pots. These could technically overwinter in my garden. We actually have some new buds for me. They are already down to zone 7, so they could overwinter here, but I'm not sure if I want to keep them, because I like to change things up, and it's been like a second year in a row that I'm growing this exact plant in this exact planter, so I have envy to change things up, and I like to plant smaller spring bulbs in this as well. This needs a bit of a trimming, this arch, but anyway, head planter looking full. Stupid pigeons. Looking really lovely. Her hair is growing. I absolutely love that look. And above the bench was a bit of a failure this year, I guess, because the rose did not do nearly as well as it did last year. Last year it was phenomenal. It's a rosemary Delaney that supports theoretically shadier areas. It doesn't get a lot of sunlight at all. Last year it was phenomenal. I was super excited. This year it's starting to produce leaves now. I don't know if it's the heat, the absolutely intense heat that we had. Like, we had temperatures reach 40 degrees Celsius nearly every single day for an entire month of June. So just when this plant was about to bloom in early June, we had that terrible heat wave that kind of postponed a lot of things, because plants kind of kicked into some sort of shock, into dormancy, like the heat-induced dormancy. And a lot of plants did not perform as they normally would if the temperatures were normal for the month of June. Over here, Clematis Josephine, I am absolutely mind blown just how long this plant keeps its flowers. Like, this is group 2 Clematis, which is supposed to bloom in summer, right? Because the Montana that you just saw over there blooms in the spring. Then I have another one over there, Jackmanii, that is group 3 Clematis. This one is supposed to bloom between the first group and the third group, and it bloomed before my spring flowering Clematis, and it held up its beautiful flowers, and the flowers stayed actually longer than the one of the Jackmanii. So the Jackmanii came into bloom and finished blooming, and this one was still in bloom. It's like, this one outlived both of my Clematises, the spring and the summer flowering ones. So that is pretty incredible. And this flower has been here for like 3 months, I swear. It's still very small because I planted it, I think, this spring, and I had already so many lovely blooms from it. So I'm super excited. Cannot wait for it to climb up this obelisk and give me more blooms. So the Jackmanii over here, I think I'm gonna give it away. I wasn't convinced with it since the beginning because actually I love this plant. It's a very beautiful plant. It's well performing and it produces these massive purple flowers. So my first problem with this plant was that the flowers were like really dark purple, saturated, and I didn't realize like how much it will matter because my garden is in the shade for most of the day. So all of these darker, more saturated colors tend to like visually disappear. But I thought that it will make a contrast with the white wall. But I'm not actually enjoying it, and the blooms don't last very long on this one. And I think it's just too big for pot because you see this whole bottom part. Even though I prune it really hard, because with this type of clematis you can prune them really hard in the spring, so I prune them all the way until there. There's still this like really massive part that's like pretty much bare. So I think I will just give it away to my grandmother. She already like found a spot for it. She's super happy, super excited about this one because she doesn't have a lot of clematises and she wants to give them a try. So that works perfectly for me, and I think I will buy another one, a different one. I'm not sure which one yet. All right, summer bulbs. This one, Ornithogalum, is now done blooming. This one as well. It's been blooming literally all summer long. The same flower, I mean. I planted, I think, 3 bulbs. Only one of them bloomed. It was like grocery store bulbs, you guys, for €2, so I did not expect much, but it blooms all summer long. Like the same flower stays for like weeks and weeks and weeks and looks so interesting. It's pretty tall. I was worried that with the high winds that we have here it's gonna break, but look how far it reaches outside the balcony and it's still like pretty sturdy. Herb planter took over the entire corner. Over here we have some coleus, beautiful one. I brought it as a teeny tiny seedling and it grew just absolutely massive. And dahlia famoso kept from last year. Dahlias obviously are not shade plants, but I place it really close to the railings so that I can get some blooms out of it because this area receives the most sunlight. And last but not least, my vertical planter. Honestly, so happy with it. I get so many different edibles out of it. I plant things in the spring. I get some leafy greens in the spring and radish and all. And then in summer I have a whole bunch of lettuce and other things. This year I also planted strawberries. I picked a variety that's shade tolerant, and take a look at this, guys. It still produces in mid-September. So I had a really nice harvest out of these strawberries. Super happy with them. Alright, so this is how the garden looks at the end of summer, beginning of autumn. Alright, you guys, so now let's talk a little bit about everything, well, not everything, but about some of the things that I really enjoyed growing this year, some of my gardening successes and some of my gardening failures. But before we jump into this, I would like to take this opportunity to also thank you for tuning in for all of these videos every week, for sharing your journey with me, for being here with me on my own journey, and for creating this beautiful gardening, balcony gardening community. I wouldn't be making these videos without you, so thanks for that. I hope that you enjoyed this gardening season with me. I hope that you learned a couple of new things. Maybe you found some inspiration in my garden. If you did, I would love to hear it. I would love for you to share that in the comment section. If there's anything that particularly that you found interesting, and perhaps what would you like to see more of on this channel, that would really help me out. So as for this gardening season, I'm gonna just quickly go over some of the failures, because you know, it's easy to talk about successes and it's easy to talk about nice things, but sometimes it's, you know, hard to admit and hard to share those, you know, ugly things. So for me personally, I struggled with 2 things mostly. My biggest struggle this year were pigeons, and that's not something I ever expected I would be struggling with. I've never had a problem with pigeons before. Like, I've been living and gardening here for 12 years, and this is literally the first year that I have pigeons messing up with my plants. And I really mean it when I say this, because I love nature, I love wildlife. My garden is wildlife friendly. I don't use any pesticides, any chemicals, anything like that. But pigeons have been driving me absolutely nuts. They are like literally destroying my plants. They would come in here, just sit in these planters. I think they think that this is like, dead plant material that they can use to create their nests, or they just try to nest in my planters. They've been breaking off branches of my Japanese maples and stuff like that, so it's been driving me absolutely nuts. Another thing that I struggled with this year were spider mites. Now, this is also not something that I usually struggle with. I had spider mites in the past, but because I try to keep my garden like balanced. Like, I don't mind pests in the garden. I think that you should always have some healthy amount of pests for that ecosystem to work. So I rely on natural predators to deal with the problem. But I actually brought spider mites from work. When I used to still work at the garden center, we had a problem with spider mites, and at that time I've been bringing plants home. And I definitely brought those spider mites to my garden, but I used some natural predators, and I think I got it under control more or less. But yeah, that was definitely an issue. What else? There were obviously some plant failures. There's a couple of things that I planted that, like for example, these summer flowering bulbs. I can never remember their name. That's some sort of lily, like they call them spider lilies. I planted 3 bulbs. There's only foliage, but at the end of the day, these were like grocery store bulbs, so I don't mind. For me, these 2 guys were also sort of a failure. The rose that did not bloom at all this summer, and the clematis that I did not enjoy at all, and even now it's not looking really pretty, like it's already turning yellow. So that's something I will definitely be changing. I will give the rose 1 more year, but then if it does nothing next year, I think I'm gonna give it away as well. Now, as for gardening success, I think in general, I'm really, really happy with how the things turned out this year, because as I mentioned already, I was really, really busy this season. I knew that I'm gonna be really busy, so I try to make sure that my garden is ready no matter what. Like, I really invested in like good quality soil, and I improved it and made sure that it's water retentive, and I only picked plants that I knew are gonna make it. Like for example, for the summer planters, I did not petunias and stuff like that, because I knew that this is gonna be like a disaster, because I will not have time to water them. And begonias and this that's not a diamond frost, that's shades in pink euphorbia. I knew that these guys can go on pretty much 1 week without watering, and honestly I don't even remember when was the last time I watered them. Like, we do get rain from time to time, and that's like enough. I didn't even fertilize them much. Like, I think I fertilized maybe twice this year. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. The garden has been really like sort of self-sufficient. But there's one thing that I do want to highlight, and something that it just brought me so much joy, and that's my micro-dwarf tomato project. I was super excited about these micro-dwarfs. I never thought I'm gonna have this many tomatoes in a shady garden. It is something that I tested before, and it is something that I kind of took up a notch this year. I grew 6 or 7 different micro-dwarf tomato varieties, and I got so many tomatoes. I had more tomatoes that I could eat, so I try to share them as well. So that's something definitely that I'm gonna be repeating. Growing tomatoes in the shade has been like, I don't know, a game-changing experience for me. That's not something I ever thought I will get to do. But with only like 3 hours of morning sunlight, even less, I grew micro-dwarf tomatoes, and they were so productive, they were so tasty. So that's something that was the highlight of my season, and something I'm definitely gonna be doing again next year. Alright you guys, so this is gonna be it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed this little tour and this quick recap of this gardening season. There's a lot more content coming your way, fall content. I'm really excited to share that with you. So stay tuned for the upcoming weeks and for some fall content. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see each other in the next video.